in the heart of Central Texas. It's the Best of the Outdoors podcast, brought to you by Texas Fish and Game Magazine, the voice of the Texas outdoor nation. I am your humble host, Dustin Von Warnke, author, outdoor writer, videographer, speaker, blogger, and podcaster, and I'm so excited that you took the opportunity to download our show or stream it online, however you are listening. Thank you so much for doing so. Well, it's that time of the week again, and I apologize. We've been away from the podcast studio the last couple of weeks. We had another show that was due to come out a couple of weeks ago, but we got really busy with SHOT Show coverage the 2 weeks after SHOT Show, or at least the week after SHOT Show for sure. And we didn't get the new podcast that I recorded during SHOT Show, that released during SHOT Show. We didn't get it out until just last week or 2 weeks ago, so we were a little bit behind on getting a new show out. So I apologize for those of you guys that follow Texas Fish and Game's website, fishgame.com. We were just busy with a lot of other coverage before we could make the podcast go live, so that's why we're delayed a little bit on getting a new show out. But I'm excited you're here. As I promised, I would talk about the SHOT Show coverage on this episode. And we've got a couple of different things I'm going to bring you. Lou Marullo, who is our hunting editor and bow hunting editor for Texas Fish and Game, is joining me on this show. And I've got a pre-recorded show with him. And then I also have Lou and Chester, because they did a lot of work at the editorial end of the show, covering everybody on the camera for our audience at fishgame.com. And I've got kind of a wrap-up of them talking at the part of SHOT Show at the very end before they left. So lots of fun there. So I know I'm a little bit delayed on getting a podcast out for SHOT Show since we're a couple of weeks after that now, but I at least have some good content for you there. Couple of housekeeping notes before we start. I just wanted to ask that you please subscribe to the show if you've not done so already. That would be awesome. And if you have the opportunity, please tell a friend about the show as well. That would help us get the word out and help us to grow this show even more and get even more listeners inside and outside of the Texas market. And that would be great. So if you have a friend that is interested in the outdoors and stuff that goes on in the world of the outdoors, please tell them about this show and share this in social media. If you found this in social media, share this on your personal timeline or however you share your social media posts. So we're going to go first to the recap of SHOT Show that Chester Moore and Lou Marullo did. That's coming up right now. And after that, we'll get into my interview with Lou Marullo that I just had the other day. It's kind of a follow-up to the SHOT Show coverage.
Hey, I'm Chester Moore.
And I'm Lou Marullo.
And we're at the SHOT Show in Las Vegas. This is our last day here for most of the Texas Fish and Game crew. And if you look out on the floor right here, you can see how massive the show is. But we've been scouring the show for all kinds of great products for you guys out there. And was there anything that really caught your eye in the last couple days?
I've been having such a great time here. We've been upstairs, downstairs, and I mean, everything here is just fantastic. Loophole here, this booth really caught my eye, particularly their thermal.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic item. I think it's coming out later this year.
And I think it's like $700 or something like that.
It's a great price for that. Come on.
Yeah, $700.
We had some other people around here, and I think that the most inexpensive one we found was $2,500. I mean, when he said $700, couldn't believe it. So, yeah, we're having a great time here. Believe me, this is a real good show, and I can't wait for next year.
You know, I was looking at a lot of things, not just for shooters and guns and things, but hunting components. And over at Wild Game Innovations, they had a product called the Reactor.
Yeah.
And it looks like a volcano blew up on a stump when you put it on. What happens is you pour it on and it has a chemical reaction. It goes up into the air and it brings this apple-type scent into the woods. It disperses that scent as something for the olfactory glands of the white-tailed deer to lure them in, right? But then it hardens and it's a mineral lake. So I thought that was kind of cool. And that's something you might be able, if areas you can't bait, maybe tweak the boundaries of legality, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might not be able to bait, but maybe you could put a mineral lick if your deer lease doesn't allow you to bait or something like that.
I saw something at Tink's that really caught my eye too. It was a spray gel. Something new this year. You spray it and it'll go 10 feet, I think, and you can keep your human scent out of that area and spray it and it'll stick right to the trees and to the limbs and to the grass all around you, and when it rains, it won't take it away. The scent still lasts. Real good product. Pretty cool.
Yeah, something that really grabbed my attention was the amount of air guns. I
yeah.
grew up hunting on the railroad tracks behind my house. Yes, no, that's not legal now. I had no idea of laws in 1986 when I was 10.
Or did you care?
Yeah, nor did I care back then. But and we'd hunt my little Sheridan 20 caliber out for rabbits and stuff. And I'll never forget seeing a mountain lion. A cougar walked out 10 yards from me. Now, back then, I'd have been dead if I tried to shoot it with that. But they have 45 caliber.
Yeah.
45 caliber air guns. Now with suppressors. There's a video of that at fishgame.com. So air guns with suppressors. I mean, the technology for air guns has caught up. It's kind of a niche market, but for people who want something a little bit different, people want to maybe take their son or daughter's air gun to the next level, maybe actually go hunting for varmints or something.
You know, we actually saw another booth that on the air gun you were talking about.
Yeah.
There was an air gun that actually shot a bolt out, like for an arrow.
Wow.
It was a combination crossbow air gun, and it was a real. That's on Texas Fishing Game website as well, but it was really cool. I mean, the guy who invented it was there, and he was explaining this whole thing to us, and it was catching everybody's eye. Everyone was stopping and looking at it. It's just so unique. It's so different. A lot of things are.
You know, I'm not a real big turkey hunter, although I had one of the greatest turkey hunts of my life with you years ago.
I love it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. He's the turkey guy.
Love
but
it.
it really caught my attention. The Flambeau, the new spin and strut. I mean, that thing was phenomenal. So it has photo printed feathers. The tail feathers are actually photorealistic print.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. And it spins. It's got a lot of live action to it. Looks realistic. I remember my dad had an old turkey decoy that barely resembled a turkey, right? This thing, I might shoot and think it's the turkey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was great. I also stopped at Flexstone this morning, and I happened to see some of the new calls they've got out there. They've got a brand new set of turkey calls out there that look phenomenal.
Yeah.
And some guy started using it. They sounded great. I talked also about the deer calls out there. They've got a grunt call and a snort wheeze call that sounds incredible. And it's just really, really good. And we also stopped and we had, I forgot the booth name now, when we stopped and we saw the setup for the blind. It was a small blind, but with the inside that popped out like these pop-up blinds, you know, so it wasn't all flimsy. Great idea, really good idea.
Yeah, we had a ball. It's a great turnout for the show. I mean, I don't know how many folks are here, but it's pretty insane.
It's packed.
But it was a great turnout and a lot of videos. We didn't catch everything, but try to catch everything that caught our eye at least. You can check those out at fishgame.com. Elliot Donner, our digital publishers, uploading them right now. There's probably 20 of them up right now. Check out some blogs and things. Chester Moore, Lou Marullo, checking out from Shot.
Okay, here's my interview with Lou Marullo. Lou is an awesome guy. He has been our editor for over 10 years now for the bow hunting and hunting section of the magazine. And he writes a monthly column called Bare Bones Hunting, and it's great. It's just he's a great writer and a great guy to follow, and I've been a big fan of his for many years, so it's kind of an honor to have him on the show. I plan on having him on the show many, many, many more times in the future because he's been a great guest and just a very knowledgeable guy. He actually lives in New York and tours with a band called Man O' War. His stage name is Eric Adams, which is awesome. And Man O' War has been around since 1980 as a heavy metal band that tours a lot in Europe and is well known definitely in that part of the world, but is well known here too for any metalheads out there that are fans of hunting and heavy metal. Man O' War is a band that he heads up as the lead singer, so that's kind of a cool little fun fact about one of our guests that you may not have known. So anyway, here's my interview with Lou Marullo. Joining me on the phone today is Mr. Lou Marullo, the hunting editor of Texas Fishing Game. How are you doing today, Lou?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. It's good to be back in New York. I like Texas, though, I got to tell you. It's a lot warmer down there right now.
Oh, my goodness. So you live in New York and write for a Texas magazine. I love it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, we love you.
Cool.
Go on. I'm sorry.
I get to hunt down there, and I get to hunt up here, too, so it's all different types of hunting I get to do, which is really cool.
We have a pretty easy down in Texas compared to New York, though, don't we?
Yeah, you know what's nice about it? You guys have hunting all year long.
Right.
I mean, that's cool. Up here, we have seasons. We have to follow the seasons, like this year, the whitetail season was not too good to me, and it's over. So now I have to wait till my hunting is over until October of next year. So
Right.
October of this year. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I know it's some time passes, and the thing that I guess we take for granted sometimes here in Texas is that we have, year-round hunting for exotics and year-round hunting for wild hogs and those kind of things that a lot of people are just like, yeah, it's no big deal, I'll go whenever, and it's just like nobody else has this really in the United States besides our state. We take it for granted, I mean, it's true.
That's right. Well, everybody in the United States goes to Texas to see the hunt, so
that's
it's
right.
business down there now.
It's a huge business down here. Well, and I was going to mention about you, I've been a fan of your column that you have in our magazine every month. And what's that column called again? I forget. I just read it. I don't read the title of it. Bare Bones Hunting. Bare Bones Hunting, okay. And that's a fantastically written column. You've written for us for how many years now, Lou?
Oh, God, I think I started in 2006, I think.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure it was 2006. Yeah, I'm having a good time with it. It's a lot of fun.
I've been following the magazine, I guess, since I started working for the magazine in 2014 into 2013. Yeah, into 2013 or the middle part of 2013, and I got interested in bow hunting about the same time I picked up the magazine. Maybe this has been 11 years ago. And I said, well, this Lou guy seems like he knows what he's talking about. And I've read the articles in there off and on ever since. I mean, I just can't believe it. It's about the time you started is the time I started reading.
Well, Dustin, I've been bow hunting's my passion. It really is. I mean, up here when bow hunting is over, I always take the rifle out and do some hunting that way. But if I had my druthers, I'd rather be out there with my bow and arrow, particularly like for turkeys. And I mean, that's just a lot of fun, and it gives a bigger challenge to the game, I think. And you have to be much closer to your game.
Right.
And, so I get to use all the products that, quite frankly, the products I got to see at the show, the SHOT Show.
Right.
So I get to use them. I don't care if it's a scent elimination product or if it's a scent product to attract game, right up to coats that are, heated. I mean, it's like heat core. There's a coat that comes heated, and I'll tell you, it works great. So, I mean, I get to try all these things up here in cold country, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's great. It's a joy of being an outdoor rider, as you and I both know. So
I do. I love it. I love it.
It's a lot
fun.
of stuff to try out and stuff. So, you and I spent a lot of time at the SHOT Show in Las Vegas this year, and I'm a little late on getting this podcast out, but I've been planning on recording it for a while. I would just kind of like to hear, since you were the one on the ground doing a lot of the interviews at SHOT Show for our website, fishgame.com. I wanted to kind of see what your viewpoints were of the trends in the industry and just kind of things that stood out to you as being really cool.
Yeah. I'll tell you the biggest trend that I saw in a lot of different booths that we stopped at. A lot of it's gone more technical than anything else, with the use of smartphones, and that's gotten into the hunting field, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, of course, you can use a GPS, which is a safety factor. People know right where you are at all times. If something goes wrong, they can find you easy enough. And but I mean, there was this one guy that I caught my eye. We happened to be walking by his booth. I wasn't scheduled to do an interview with him or anything, but he had a smartphone on his bow, and it was really cool. It was like you could set it up to see heat, white heat, red heat. Really cool, very, very cool. And you could see the animal, you could see, people moving, and he had this whole lineup set up, and it was really, really cool. And it was just one thing that I happened to notice. It was Telescope was the name of his booth, but it was really cool. He explained how he uses a smartphone, and he had it for wind direction. We have all that here as well, but a lot of people, I think now, should get in the habit of picking their phone up and saying, "Okay, I want to hunt this tree stand.
Right.
Let me see what the wind's doing here." And I think that's good because you and I both know that if you're going to hunt whitetail deer, if the wind's blowing in your face and you're in your stand, you're all right. But if the wind's blowing in your back, that's not a good thing.
No, it's hard
you
to trick
not even be out there hunting.
Hard to trick a whitetail's nose. It's kind of like trying to trick a coyote's nose,
You know, I say this. I teach the bow hunting class. I have for years, and it's funny because I always tell the students. I said, look, you might be able to move a little bit in the stand. If the deer sees the movement, you still might get the shot. If you make a little noise, they're a curious animal. You still might get the shot. But if the slightest breeze blows towards that deer and they smell human, you're going to all see why they're called whitetails.
That's right. You see that white flag waving in the air as they run off, right?
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Anybody that's hunted for any amount of time for big game knows that look, knows that feeling.
That's right.
And it just sinks your heart in your chest, so.
That's really right. Yeah.
No, that's
so
great.
I stopped at Wildlife Research Center booth when I was at the SHOT Show. And it was really cool. They had all these new products. They've got this spray that's called Gold. I'm sure you're familiar with it. You spray it. They advertised it last year or 2 years ago, is when you spray it, it lasts for 10 days. Once it's dried, it lasts for 10 days, so you don't have to worry about, your scent or anything for that. And it does work. I've tried it. It does work. So I went to his booth and I talked to them about it. And that's the first thing I said. You could see it on what they were filming at the SHOT Show. And I said, oh, yeah, use this product. I said, it'll last for 10 days. And I said, I'm pretty impressed with your product. And talk to me a little bit about it. And he said to me, he says, well, Lou, he said, thanks for stopping by the booth. And he said, but I've got a surprise for you. This stuff now lasts for 20 days. Improved it in like 20 days. That's great.
I love it.
That's great. You spray your clothes, you saturate your clothes, which a lot of people don't do. They just spray a little bit here and there.
Mist a little bit on, right? Yeah, right.
But no, they tell you should saturate your clothes after they're washed. Saturate them and put it out on the line and let it dry. And once it's dry, you're good for 10 days. I think that's incredible. Or 20 days. I think that's incredible. Man.
The thing that I've noticed with, and I've said that, you've never heard me say this before, Lou, but I've said it on the show many times, is that, we're in the golden age of our era when it comes to hunting and fishing products and outdoor products and things that we generally use. It just seems like it can't get any better than this, but it's the new and improved version's the next thing that's out,
every year, Dustin, every year they've got newer products. It's really, that's the exciting thing about going to the SHOT Show.
Yes.
They show you all these new products that are either just out or they're coming out soon. So you get to see it before, some of the things before they're even released,
Right.
I think it's way cool. It's way cool. Loopold, they had we stopped at Loopold and talked to them about the product, and they had a handheld heat sensing unit, okay, that they said could be attached to a rifle, but they held it in their hand, and you could see people walking by. You can see the heat on their heads, heat on their hands as they're walking by. Where he walked in his where the salesman walked by, he put it where he had already walked, and you could still see heat on the rug.
Oh, how cool! You could see like a heat signature. It's way cool, and it was inexpensive, and I think it's a winner. I really do. For if you're hunting in a thick area, where the big boys like to walk, and you're hunting in a big area and you're hunting that big buck, and you've only got a small window to release an arrow or get a shot off. To be able to comb the thicket with this unit, and if you see something coming your way, you see heat coming your way, get ready. Yeah. Right.
I think it's great. You won't be surprised. I think it's really good, and finding wounded game.
Sure.
Come on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's incredible. A great idea. That's a great idea for finding wounded game, especially if it's a freshly dead game, animal. So
that's what I mean. You'd find it. I'm sure down in Texas, I don't know how they do it on the TV shows down there. They say that we leave it until the morning and go after it in the morning. Well, down up here where I'm from and down there where you guys are, you leave it till the morning, you're bound to find about half of it,
Right.
And the coyotes will leave you a
get
note
it.
saying, "Thanks for the dinner."
That's right.
Thanks for
They'll
dinner.
leave you a
It was
note.
great. But anyway, hey, turkey season's coming up, right? I mean, it's April.
That's
April's
right.
turkey season down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we stopped at the Flambeau. We stopped at the Flambeau up at the SHOT Show, and
Right.
they had this new unit that was so cool. It was a turkey decoy. Can't think of the name of it. A spin and strut, I think was the name of it.
Okay.
Spin and strut. And then you attach a line to it, okay, a nylon line. It goes forever. So it goes way away from your blind. And you have full control of that bird, which is really cool. The decoy, you can move it 90 degrees, and there's a stop on it. So you can go right or left 90 degrees, and it'll stop. And you can also control the tail, the fan. So it goes up all the way in full strut, halfway down, or all the way down. And so the movement is the thing. And that, I'm telling you, that will bring in any buck, any bird. And let me tell you something. What I thought was really cool about this one, the beard in the center, you can have it all the way out like you're the boss bird, or you can push the beard in so it's only an inch out or so. So it looks like a young Jake.
Yeah.
I mean that is really cool. It's a cool design. Really, really good. You can also use real turkey feathers if you've got a fan already made.
Sure.
You can put your own. It's designed so you can put your own fan on the back of it.
That is really cool.
Flambeau really came up with that. That's a great idea.
A lot of times you just think of a gun case or a bow case with Flambeau, but a turkey decoy. I mean, that's so integrally designed and well thought out.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
It's perfect. It's perfect for this turkey season. I mean, I hope to get down there and hunt some April birds down there. Our season doesn't start until May up here.
Really?
But,
okay.
And I'll be I'll be out on the road touring with the band next fall. So I'm going to miss most of the hunting season this coming year, but I want to get out there and get as much turkey hunting as I can before the rehearsals start for the tour.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So we get our last final tour coming up.
That's exciting. So there's plenty to plan for and everything with that. But, back to SHOT Show, I just think that it's just an amazing, combination of things when you look at all the different innovations that happened in the industry. And you just named some that were just phenomenal, things.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to bring up is Sightmark. They're a company that has a lot of optics. They own the Pulsar brand and 12 Survivors and Southern Crossbow and a bunch of brands like that. They're based here in Mansfield, Texas, and they make a scope called the Photon, and they make it in two different magnifications, but it's for, I think, the Photon 4.2 by 42 or whatever the reticle size is. It's like $499. It started at $599, but night vision for that cheap, but a high quality night vision for that inexpensive, I think is very, very, just like you were saying with the Leopold. I thought about that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Very, very cool.
I mean, it's very affordable. I've got one of the ranches I work with wants to get a suppressed air gun and do night hog hunts with night vision with air guns. Yeah, and I think it's a great kind of gimmick to bring some people in. So,
it's great.
The stuff like that just never ceases to amaze me. I mean, it's just awesome.
Hey, did you get to stop at the Barnett? See the Barnett crossbows?
I was there with you when you were.
At that booth?
Yeah, I got to stop at that booth, and I own 3 Barnett crossbows. Most of the listeners of the show know that I'm a big Barnett fan of crossbows, and and I own the BCX Buck Commander Extreme, the Wildcat C5, which my dad has and uses for hunting up in Oklahoma, and then I use the Raptor Reverse, which is one of the only reverse limb crossbows that they have. So I know you own a Barnett crossbow too, right?
Yeah, I do actually, Whitetail Hunter one, and it's I'm impressed. I really am impressed. I got to tell you, I told the guy that when we stopped down at the booth. It was so easy to put together. any blind person can do it. It's pretty simple.
Right. It's relatively
pretty simple
straightforward.
To put together. Yeah, all straightforward. It's great. That whole section that we were at, they've got a lot of new things out there for the hunter. That's really, really impressive things. So that's cool.
You've got
Very cool.
Flexstone Game Calls was one of the ones that you reviewed in our magazine.
Yeah, Flexstone. Yeah, I stopped there. I wanted to talk to a salesman about it on camera when I was down there, and they were just too busy with a bunch of other people.
Sure.
And, I said, it doesn't matter. I own Flexstone Calls. I'll talk about it myself.
Right.
And I did.
Right. You did a good video on that.
They're great. I mean, they've got one called the Tine. I think it's called the Tine Timber or Tine. I don't have it.
Time Tickler or something like that. I forget what it was, but it was.
It's a very small one that you fit in your mouth and you squeeze down with your teeth and blow air in it. And boy, it sounds perfect. It's nasally, just like a real buck would sound. You know, at close range. You're not trying to call that buck off, 200 yards away from you. This is for close range.
Right.
When you're already at full draw, or you already got your rifle up, or you're at full draw, and it's walking along, and you just get that, and it'll stop. Definitely, it'll stop.
Just enough.
There you go.
Just enough to get your shot off.
Bad day.
Right. Yeah, just to have a bad day for the deer. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's right.
You also go ahead. I'm sorry.
So that's right. Yeah, the deer's about to have a bad day when he stops. Looks up, gives you the old crap eyes. Oh crap.
Oh crap. It's funny. Well, I was also going to say that same family of companies, they had the Ameristep blind, and when you were talking with Chester, which I'll feature on this show, the wrap up that y'all did at the end of the Facebook Live, you couldn't remember the name of it. I was sitting there going, Lou, it's Ameristep, but you were talking about the Ameristep blind, how it pops up really easily and is a good little 1-man, 2-man blind for a ground blind.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great one. Yeah, it's really good. What's really cool about it is there's no loud zipper to go in and out of the blind.
Right.
You know what I mean? How they've got, most blinds have those big, huge zippers that when you go in and out, you've got to unzip and zip down, and it makes a lot of racket.
Right.
They came up with this blind now that it's once you pop it open, it's so rigid. One of the corners is open. You just lift it open and walk in and lift it back shut. No noise at all. And the windows on it were really cool because they go up halfway, all the way.
Oh, that's
There's
neat.
no Velcro. There's no noisy Velcro inside it. I mean, I used it this year, and it was great in the field.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I just kind of think
really.
when whoever designed Velcro for hunting applications must not be a hunter. It is the noisiest stuff you could possibly use in the woods. I mean, that's the thing I never understood with people getting out there and doing things like blinds with a lot of Velcro on them. I'm like, backpacks or what do you call it? Fanny packs or whatever you wear out in the woods that have Velcro on them.
Right.
I mean, they're the most least conducive, most distracted thing out there. You've been at this longer than I have, so you know what I mean.
You know what I ended up doing? You know what I ended up doing before?
What's that?
When the Velcro was on the releases that you had to put on, and if it had to be readjusted, so you had to undo the Velcro and tighten up the release a little bit, made a racket. Here, your tree stand, and when you do it, I would always have a grunt call in my mouth.
Oh, yeah, do that while you're...
I went to move, I go, I would make a grunt sound.
That's hilarious.
Anything that sounds like, okay, there's an animal. It's not really,
that's not really a human adjusting his Velcro. That's a brilliant idea, Lou. So,
gotta do something.
You gotta do something. That's right. Oh my gosh,
man,
that's funny.
That's funny.
Oh, that's
hey, did you get to stop at the Under Armour booth?
No, I didn't. Tell me about that.
Oh man, they've got some new camo Under Armour, which is great. I mean, I always thought Under Armour just came like in the light nylon outfits.
Right.
Either tight or loose that would take away your sweat. Actually, you know what I mean?
Right.
Soak up your sweat.
Wick,
so you don't
wick your
freeze in the
sweat.
woods.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But they've got these camo outfits that fit over that now. And I did. You have to look at that video. I did a video on it. It was really, really cool. He did, and they have it for women as well, camo women outfits, and
great,
really nice stuff. Nice stuff. Really cool.
They've responded well to the hunting.
They were
folks,
the last. I think that was the last booth I ended up going to.
Okay.
The Under Armour. I almost missed it, actually.
Oh, that's cool. They got definitely some innovations, and that's the thing about camo clothing or just hunting clothing. Period. Is you will agree with me. I learned this from Chester many years ago. I've urban bow hunted for a number of years, Lou, and I think I've told you that. But I hunt out of ground blinds, and the best way to dress, and I've talked about this in the show before, the best way to dress in a ground blind is in black, because you've got a black interior. It's not the hottest, sexiest looking camo in the world. It's just to match your surroundings, and in that case, it's to kind of black yourself out. But I kind of think that the camo companies have done a lot with the quality of clothing that we wear. My camo is a lot more comfortable to wear now, and Under Armour is definitely a good example of that kind of stuff going on.
And it's quiet. It's nice and quiet.
It's quiet. That was the other
really,
thing.
really nice stuff out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think Chester did an article in Texas Fish and Game where they showed his picture. He was in a blind, dressed like a ninja.
Yes, that's where I learned that from.
All you could see are his eyes.
I remember seeing that too.
You can only see his eyes. It was really cool. Really cool.
That's true camouflage right there. It's just blacked out, and just and hidden from the deer like that. So it's important not to wear a white shirt and a black hunting blind. So,
hey Dustin, did you talking about blinds and blending in? I stuck with the nature blinds thing.
Yes,
were you with me when I
saw
did
that video though. I wasn't with you, but I saw that video. That is really cool.
Oh, it's way cool. It's way cool. It's for the people that are listening. It looks like a tree. It looks like a tree stump, a huge tree stump that you can climb in. And again, you can open the windows. They're quiet from the inside. Really, really, it's a cool setup.
It really is.
And the only disadvantage of it is it's so big. You need a truck to bring it in the woods where you want to hunt. But
it'll last.
Once it's there, it's there.
Those things will last a lifetime. I think the way they're built, they're kind of rotomolded, or they're molded out of solid construction, and they blend in really well. They even make a feeder. I don't know if you saw that there. They make a feeder that looks like a tree stump. They had that at the show, and I was with them when Chester filmed with them last year at SHOT Show 2016, and I was really impressed. I mean, it has its windows and everything, but they're really really blended in well, and nature blinds are just great. They're a little pricey for having something that you're not going to hunt in a lot, but I think they're worth the money because you put it there, it's there for life. It really is.
It's there for life. That's right. I mean, you make your racket, get it where you want, particularly if you've got your own spot hunt that's there year in and year out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Then you can just leave it there, and you don't have to worry about. Believe me, no one's going to go in there and walk off with your blind. That's for darn sure. That just is not going to happen with this.
That's right.
They'd have to really make a big effort to get there.
Yeah, they'd have to get a flatbed truck to get that thing out of there. But yeah, it's more permanent. It's good for long-term leases. It's good for property that you own that you hunt on a regular basis. And but it's convenient. They're nice. They're comfortable to sit in. You can pretty much bring whatever you want to as far as chair and heater or whatever else in there. And I just think it's a great idea. There's a podcast I listened to with the owner of that company. I think his name is Tim. He did a his story is really neat. It's a good Christian story, but it's also a story about faith. And there's a podcast on the Wild Game Hunting Podcast, which isn't around anymore, but there you can go back in the archives and listen to his story. It's just it touches your heart the way that company got started. So that's another thing I want to mention. It's a very sweet, cool. Very cool guy that owns it for sure.
Hey, I want to mention this too while we're talking about people walking off with things in the woods. In my bow and hunting classes that I teach, I always ask a young kid in the crowd, I say, would you take anything from your mother without her knowing about it? He said, no. How about your father? Would you take anything from your father? He said, no. And I said, why? And I'm looking for an answer, because he's my family. It's my family. I wouldn't do that. I'm looking for that answer. He says, because he'd kill me. He'd kill me. So I said,
Dad does not mess around.
He's not, okay. Well, he's trying to teach you that you don't take from your family members. You don't take from anybody like that without them asking. You just don't take anything. I said, and right now, we belong to a hunting family here. This is our family now. And I said, and it's horrible that you have to keep honest people honest and get out there and lock your stands in place.
Right.
You got to lock your cameras.
Game cameras, right.
I said, you shouldn't have to do that, in our world. You shouldn't have to do that. And it's,
well,
I tell the people, I said, look, just if you're in a tree, if you come walking up, you see a tree stand there, that's not your stand. Leave it alone.
Right.
Just leave it alone. If you have a camera, you walk up and there's a camera there, smile for the camera and just keep on walking.
Right.
You got to keep doing that. You think of it as your hunting family because it's an awful feeling. I had a nice gift from my son Adam, a real nice gift, very expensive camera, and it wasn't in the woods 2 weeks and it was gone.
Wow, and you really run into that. I mean, Texas is 96 to 97% privately owned, but you run into that a lot.
Yeah.
I've got some friends of mine and some that have even been on this podcast that hunt public land quite a bit or government land or whatever the case may be, and that's where that stuff is rampant. I mean, that's where you really run into people stealing your stuff and walking off with what used to be yours and I mean, I had somebody steal my safety straps out of my tree stand, my hang-on tree stand. You really need those
safety straps.
Yeah,
I climbed in the stand in the dark. I climbed in the stand on opening day, and it was wobbly and shaky. I says, "What the heck is going on?" I turned my flashlight. I'm looking a little closer, and the straps are gone.
Oh no!
Oh man, you really need to risk somebody's life for a $5 strap. Is it worth it? Come on. Boy, but it's the way life is sometimes.
One thing I wanted to, now that you mentioned tree stands real quick, and I don't want to keep you too long, but I basically wanted to say one of the things I honor you for, is I always try to bring up things that I honor the guests that I have on the show for, is tree stand safety. We don't hunt with a lot of tree stands here in Texas, but when we do, wearing a harness and stuff is something you're a big proponent of, and I honor you for that because I don't think enough outdoor riders bring that point home enough.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, you can slip and fall from a stand so fast, and it's a veteran hunter out there that says it's never going to happen to me. And that's the one you got to worry about.
That's
because he slips, he falls, whatever, and if you fall 18 feet out of a stand, and crawl away with a broken arm and a couple broken legs, consider yourself lucky.
I mean, you've had some stories in your columns that are just gut wrenching of people that have fallen from them, that they're disabled for weeks. They can't go to work. They can't be there for their family. I mean, there are a lot of detrimental things that can happen if you don't take safety first.
Oh, you can get online and you can put tree stand safety accidents online.
Oh yeah,
and you Google it and you can see there's this one guy in particular who's a professional hunter. And he and his buddy they hunt and they film their hunts, okay? And they've got the big TV cameras, so they've got to go up quite a ways, at least 20 feet up in the air,
right?
And or more. And these big cameras they strap around the arm the tree, and then there's this big arm that comes out and holds the camera,
right?
And he says he had the camera that day. He climbed up in the tree, got his camera all harnessed in, ready to go, and then he never harnessed himself in. And the stand slipped and fell, and he fell out of the stand, and he's a paraplegic.
Oh, my goodness.
Right now. He's
wow.
done. He's a paraplegic.
There's the rest of your life in front of you,
That's it.
It's not the highest quality of life.
Because of a foolish little incident that took, seconds, milliseconds, he forgot to do this, and then he was a veteran hunter, and it happens. It happens. So I always stress to the people, make sure that's the first thing you do before you bring your firearm up in that stand.
Right.
Strap
yourself in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
absolutely.
That's one thing I've not talked about is I talk about a lot of different subjects around hunting, but when we talk about bow hunting, I'm mainly a ground hunter, but I know you're a big tree stand guy, and I know there are a lot of folks in Texas and wherever this podcast is heard that are tree stand folks, and I definitely want to want to honor you for that message for sure.
Yeah.
So,
well, listen, Dustin, I got to get going here, but
okay.
I appreciate the call, man. It's a great conversation.
Appreciate you. Thanks so much for being on the show. And there he goes, ladies and gentlemen, another awesome guest in the Best of the Outdoors podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking this out. Another note to please subscribe to the show if you haven't already. Please tell a friend about the show. Please check out our website, fishgame.com, and subscribe to Texas Fish and Game Magazine if you haven't done so already. We are always looking to broaden our audience and get some new readers, especially some of the young readers that we have in the digital world. We have an app for Texas Fish and Game that a lot of folks may not know about that has a lot of news and kind of refers back to our website as far as the news feed goes. And you can also access the podcast there or follow the app to the podcast on the web. On the website, and you can also read the magazine on the app. It's really digitally oriented and very, very well done with multimedia extras and that kind of stuff. And a thing to keep in mind is this March issue that's coming up. I've mentioned this before on the show. I've got 2 articles coming out, one called Carpe Diem, which is about bow fishing for carp, which is a pretty fun article to write that I wrote, and another one called Air Gunning for Hogs and Exotics, or Air Gun Hunting for Hogs and Exotics, which is one that I've written with the help of a lot of folks from the big bore air gun world, and a lot of fun that I've had with the Air Force Air Gun Texan that I've been lucky to own and shoot a lot, and took a hog back in December that I mentioned on the show. That I've got the video on my YouTube channel if you want to go check that out, and got that on Air Force Air Gun's website as well. So want to definitely plug that for the March issue coming out. Okay, thanks so much for checking us out and tuning in, and have an awesome day in the outdoors.